Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining and having lunch with Laura today. I'm Laura Lee Collet from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I have been a demonstrator for 20 years. I have some things to share with you today, and let me show you what I did last week, and we'll get onto that in a second. Let me first remind everybody that the mini catalog is now live. That means you can order out of it, and it runs through the end of April. In the mini catalog, you're going to find something for everyone. We know that we have different styles and different levels of stampers. So if you're a beginner, we've got what you need. If you are more of an advanced and like fancier stuff to do, we can also take care of you. Okay? Now, during the time this month, January through February 28th, we have what we call Celebration. This happens every year after Christmas and when the mini catalog comes out. Celebration means that for every $60 that you spend on merchandise out of the mini catalog or out of our annual catalog, also we have an online exclusive. So whatever you order, once you reach $60, you get to pick something for free in this little catalog. There's some stamp sets, there's paper, and there's some more paper, a lot of stamp sets. Okay, so if you spend more than $60, if you get up to $120, you'll get to either pick two things that are at level 1, which is the $60 level, or you can pick one thing that's at the $120 level. And so I wanted to make sure you knew all about that. Now, we're going to get started here, and I have a really simple card to show you. These are some of the cards. I did this one last week, and I showed you these that a friend made for me, and then I made this one. And actually I cased this out of the catalog, and what casing means is that you're copying and sharing everything. You can look at a picture online or in the catalog, do it exactly the same, or you can use a different stamp set and maybe different paper colors, but you're taking the idea, and that's what we mean by casing, and that really helps out. Today's card is going to be made with one of the sets that's in the Celebration catalog, and it is called Corner in Bloom. This is a great stamp set. I usually don't buy these corner ones, but this one grabbed me. And you can see there's a small corner stamp that has a lot of larger flowers. There's this one, which we're going to use today, that's the smaller. And then there's a big one that has bigger flowers. There's also a plant over here, and for the life of me, I can't think of the name of it. And you can use that just as a regular stamp. There are also little flowers that you can add. And it is a photopolymer stamp set, which means that you can see through it for placement. And then the stamps set that I used for this card, this was one of my samples. And it says, "Have a perfectly lovely day." and I chose that sentiment from this set called Autumn Expressions. You can find this in the online exclusives. And then you could put thank you in here, happy birthday, any kind. You could add a sentiment that you'd like and then write a little message or whatever. Now, I'm going to make mine a little bit different from this. And let me get my scratch paper out. I am using very few supplies today. This is an 8.5 by 5.5 piece of our thick basic white. You know, I was telling a friend, I said, I'm not going to buy that thick anymore. Well, every now and then you need it because this card doesn't have any layers. It doesn't have anything here. It's not, the base is not one of the colored card stocks. So I went ahead and ordered some, and I'm finding I'm going to use it a lot. I've already scored this at 4 1/4, and I'm just going to fold it back. I'm not going to crease it yet, just because I want to be able to see where the crease line is, or score line, and see where I'm going to put my little corners. I could have one there. You could do just one. And here, which I think is what I'm going to do this time. And then I'm going to make a birthday card out of it. So let me tell you the supplies you need. You're going to need a block for your photopolymer stamps. You're going to need a black ink pad. My favorite is the Memento Black. And then I'm only using 3 of my colored pencils. Now, because I'm using colored pencils, I don't have to worry about it bleeding through to this side. If you use blends, you would need to have a layer on here. Do your stamping on the layer, then adhere it to the card base. And that way, again, you won't have the bleeding through. Okay, well, I'm going to ink this up real well. With these larger stamps, sometimes I find it easier to turn it upside down and ink it like this. But even if you turn it over, you want to make sure that every part of the stamp, so I need a little more down here, every part got inked up real well. And just to make sure, I'm going to put it on the paper. Okay, see how we need a little bit more? Sometimes these, I find that the stays on ink and the Memento, the pads seem to dry out faster. Okay, now we've got it. Another thing you could do is put it on our little pad, our stamping pad that is a foam pad, and that gives a little lift there. So, okay, let's see how this comes out. And of course, I'm always holding my breath when I'm not using a layer on top. And I've already gotten a little boo-boo there, so I'm going to put this one right here. And you want to make sure it's mashed down really well. There we go. And I was able to get it about the same distance. Okay. Now I'm going to do this corner. I even saw with looking at some samples people had done, they had used these corners for scrapbooking. They stamp the corners around the picture. Oop. That one got a little juicy there, and I want to make sure it doesn't come off. See, it's a little bit too juicy right there. So I'm just going to clean that up. Come on. Okay. I guess I got a little heavy on the stamping and got that a little too juicy. Okay. So now we have it stamped up again. And again, I'm going to try to make it with even margins. And I think that's going to do okay. Okay. Ooh, I love it when a plan comes together. So now I have stamped my corners. Now I can go ahead and score them. I've already scored it, so make your score line, give it a crisp edge on it, and that'll help it to stay down. Now, I don't want to put that away yet because I am going to use, Go To Greetings. Now, this is a retired set, so anything that you can find, I would suggest doing a large sentiment. So see how big that one was? And since I'm going to be turning this way, I needed a large sentiment. And we don't want Happy Birthday upside down. And it is going to go right there in the middle. And I eyeball. When I am scrapbooking, sometimes I'll pull out the ruler. And always test your stamps before you put it on a project, and especially one that does not have a layer, because you can always turn the layer over and redo it if you need to. Okay, let's see. That looks like it's good. And I am going to put it right there. Beautiful. Now, I like the script with this. There were some other birthday stamps I found that were like, they weren't in cursive, they were just, in regular print. So whatever you can find, you can use. Okay, now all I'm going to do next is color in. I'm going to start with the leaves. And this is a quick, I'm going to mass produce some of these for my January birthdays. I'm kind of behind here, and which seems to be the story of my life. But anyway, I wanted to make sure that it was something simple and easy, quick and easy. And Stampin' Up! Even has a logo. I don't know what you call it. I don't know if it's not a logo, but it's a hashtag that I still haven't quite figured out how to use those. But anyway, if you go to hashtag simple stamping, there'll be a lot of examples in there. And you know what? Simple stamping, just because it's simple and you don't use many products, doesn't mean that it's only for a beginner. Because you could get really fancy here. You could add some bling to it if you wanted to. Okay, I think that's about it. And then I'm just going to kind of alternate the colors. Now this one I used a Coastal Cabana and Pretty in Pink. and Daffodil Delight. This time I'm using Balmy Blue, which will be a light blue, Garden Green, and Daffodil Delight. So I'm going to start at the top. And you can see how fast this goes. And I'm going to skip. And we'll make that blue. I think on the other side I thought it was a leaf. Okay. So let's do this one. Okay. I'm only going to do this one side because y'all don't need to watch me color every little petal. But you can see how pretty it's going to come out. And remember, you can use blends, but be sure that you put it on a layer. So that's going to be the general gist of my card today. Quick, easy, simple. Now the other thing I want to remind you of, always put your John Hancock, your signature, on the back of the card. So I'm going to ink this up again. Oops, there I go. Ooh, you should have seen me when I first got started stamping. We were using black and I ended up with it all over me. Okay. Now mine says hand stamped by Laura Lee Calais, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. It doesn't matter if you have a stamp that has your signature. You can use just a cute little stamp like say this one. Let me show what that would look like. You could just pick any stamp you wanted. You don't even necessarily have to color it in. So you could put that at the bottom of your card and then put your initials. Some people even put the year. Now I put the year on the inside when I write my message. So that's an example of how you can do it without your name and having a name stamp. Okay, I hope that you will go online, look at the catalog if you don't have one in your hot little hand. Go through, get your pad and paper and your favorite beverage. I always like to climb up in bed and do this. And take your sticky notes, mark the things that you might want, go back through, make your list from most wanted to you can wait a little while, and order online at stampingatthebirdnest.com. And I have a January host code that I would appreciate it if you would put in at checkout. Then when you go to check out, it's going to tell you what you have earned in celebration points. And then you'll click on the icon and it will show you all of the sets and everything that's in this little magazine. Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining. We still are praying for our people in New Orleans, and we definitely need to pray for California. They're having fires that are unbelievable out there. And my sister lives there, so that's close to my heart too. Please come back next week. If you have questions, you can contact me, and I will do my best to answer for you. And any comments, or if you want to see a different technique, I'm always open to doing that because it makes me learn things that I can teach you. Have a great rest of the weekend. We're hunkered down. It's been chilly. Like at night, it's been in the high 20s, which that's pretty cold for us. I'm in Baton Rouge. And anyway, the rain is coming, the humidity's high. So even though it's 44, it feels like it's about 30. So, enough about our weather. Thank you for being here. Please come back next week. Love y'all.